and I hope that this does not take too long. I would begin by saying that it was my privilege just about 20 years ago to have met a man who, in my opinion, knew as much or more than any other given individual in this field of alcoholism. His name was Walter Green. He was a medical doctor and a recovered alcoholic. The little doc, as he was very fondly called by everyone who knew him, had lost everything through his own drinking. Beginning with his license to practice medicine. He lost that, and from there he went down. And he wound up on Michigan Avenue in Detroit, Michigan, thumbing nickels for drinks. And I can hear him say now that very often, even though the people didn't recognize him, he put his hands out to former patients that he had treated when he was a young intern at Detroit Receiving Hospital, not very far from there. Well, the little doc had a beautiful expression. He says, "You don't get AA, it gets you." Well, it got him, and he got well. And he went back to the top of his profession. And he became the medical head of the hospital in Brighton, Michigan. And he had developed a series of talks on alcoholism, which he gave to his patients there. Now, Dr. Green dedicated his entire life from his own recovery on. He dedicated his entire life only to alcoholic men and women. And he treated approximately 6,000 of them before he himself died of cancer some years ago. I would submit for your consideration that this little man knew what he was talking about. He had the experiential knowledge of having been there himself, and he had the knowledge mixed with a lot of love of his patients that he had collected over the years. He used to say this: a lie can be wiped out with truth. Ultimately, you can explode a lie or a myth or a fallacy with truth. One thing is much more dangerous than any lie ever could be, and that's the half-truth. And there's no field on earth in which there are more half-truths than this one of alcoholism. So he used to say, what can be known should be known. Because if we don't work with solid truth and solid knowledge, death is the result. Alcoholism is a terminal illness. If an alcoholic does not stop drinking, the drinking will ultimately stop him. So Doc used to say, in that magnificent simplicity of his, it's rather nice to know what you're sick with so you know what it is you're getting well from. And then he used to try to explain alcoholism, at least the facts that we do know about it, what it is and what it does, based on the knowledge of alcohol, what it is and what it does. Alcoholism is one of the oldest illnesses known to mankind. It's been around a long, long time. It's mentioned in Scripture, mentioned in a lot of other ancient writings. It is, in my opinion, the most complex. We don't even know what causes it. And I can hear Doc saying this as if he just said it 5 minutes ago. The causes and cures for cancer will be long forgotten even before we come to a knowledge of the causes of alcoholism. We do know the causes of drinking. You can find out why people start drinking, but those things are not the causes of compulsive drinking. Here's where many professionals make a mistake. They conclude that what causes drinking is causative of alcoholism, or compulsive drinking isn't so at all. It's the most complete illness known. It affects body, mind, emotion, and soul. In other words, when you catch this disease, you get sick all over. And it's the one about which we know the least. I heard a man as recently as last night say that in the beginning of his own recovery, he figured he knew everything about alcoholism. And now, after quite a few years of recovery, 20-some, he said, I think I'm beginning to learn a few things about it. And so it was a very baffling thing. But to get back to basics, The facts about alcoholism, what can be known, should be known, because the results of a half-truth are always tragic. One of the first myths that Doc used to try to explode is a popular belief that practically everybody holds on to. If we can send the alcoholic to some professional who can tell him why he drinks, he won't have a drinking problem. I would like to bet that many of you in this room, when your problem was discovered and when it was acknowledged that there was some trouble with drinking here, were sent to psychiatrists and spent a lot of money and a lot of hours trying to find out why you drink. And if a man or woman is smart enough, they can get to the basic reasons of why you started to drink. But that doesn't dissipate the problem. Has any of you in this room ever gone to a dentist and said, "Quick, doctor, tell me why my tooth hurts"? And after he explains why, all the ins and outs of molecular structure of cells and saliva and food and decay and all of that sort of thing, supposing he explains exactly why you have a toothache, have any of you ever said, "Thank you, doctor," and walked out? A knowledge of causes does not dissipate the problem. It doesn't dissipate the problem at all. Proper therapy does. You may know why you have appendicitis, but that's not going to take care of it. Surgery will. You may know why you broke your leg. You weren't careful skiing. But a knowledge of why you broke your leg is not going to heal it. Proper therapy is the answer to any problem. However, Doc says just to clear the air, there are reasons why people drink alcohol. But he said there are reasons why people drink everything. So let's go into the things we drink and why we drink them. The very first thing that crosses human lips is water. Why do we drink it? We have to. We have to. Well, I think they say you can only go so many days without water, you'll die. Most of the human body is composed of water. It has to be replenished and so on. So basically, water slakes thirst. We drink it because it is necessary that we drink it. The next thing we are given is milk. And milk is drunk because we have to drink it. It is so essential to life for some animal species, the human animal included. This is what biologists call us. They call us milk drinkers. The technical name is mammal. That's from the Latin word mama, which means breast, the source of milk. Mammals are milk drinkers. And we drink milk for the sustenance of health. It sustains health to such a degree it's been called nature's perfect food. All right. These two beverages here, water and milk, since they are absolutely essential to human life, they're called natural. These are the natural beverages. But we humans, unlike a whole lot of other animals, drink a lot of other beverages for different reasons. One of the very first things we drink after water and milk is something sweet. Soft drink, soda, hot chocolate, anything sweet. And the reason is so simple. In the very young, among the taste buds, there is a definite preference for sweetness. And so usually our parents give us something sweet when we're very young. The reason? It is pleasing. It pleases taste. We drink it because it tastes good. There's no deep, probing, psychological reason for that. Even though they try to dazzle us with technical language, it is drunk for oral gratification. All that means is that it tastes good. And that is why we drink it. As Dr. used to say, we please a desire, we do not fulfill a need. We please a desire. And I think this is probably the basic reason for drug usage. It pleases a desire. It makes one feel good, but there's no need for that. It isn't necessary. All right. The next thing we're introduced to, especially here in the Western world, is coffee. Now, please, watch the difference between drinking coffee and drinking these other three things up here, water, milk, and soda. The drinking of coffee has to be learned. You have to acquire a taste for coffee. And the reason you have to learn to